What's up? How are we doing? Skeletom Nation. What's up? Bonus error, it is 8:04 p.m., I think. Is that right? Here on the East Coast. I am seconds away from finishing this application ahead of our deadline. And I have to make a bunch of videos about it, which is exciting. Let me navigate to my correct capture group here for Unity. There we go. And turn off my hat because I am not cooking right now, though I am still making something, I guess. We're cooking an application in a sense. Anyway, I am pretty much just in the phase where I'm modifying UI stuff to make this look more presentable, and that's what the plan for tonight is. I have one more menu that I need to add to this that is going to be split out. Cooking that spaghetti code, you're so right, Denchi. That reminds me, let me put on my cool gamer music. Sega has been so kind as to not copyright strike me, so I'm just going to keep using Sonic music. It's the only way. Let me know if it's too loud or too quiet. And then, for good measure, there we go. Alright, so what are we actually dealing with here? Thank you, thank you, thank you! Grazie. Alright, so can I make this any bigger? Not really. So some cool points of information. The next update will feature the ability to have individual profiles per model, so you can have your default, your workout stream, your horror game stream profile. Currently, the first pass of that was I displayed that up here, and you can rename the profile by clicking on this box if it's not the default. I don't think that's terribly intuitive, so I'm going to add a fourth tab here between outputs and settings for just profiles. So that's cool. Look forward to that. We can collapse every piece of the UI now, because why shouldn't you be able to? But for cases like Pulsoid or things that have internet connection, when they collapse, it'll still show that relevant piece of information about the status of the connection, because I think that's important. So you can, hide the login and auth token and everything. That's fine. This is most useful for the output parameters here, because there's 15 of them now. So if you wanted to look at all of them, you can expand this, but by default it will be collapsed, which is good. And then for things like the expression or the art mesh tint, when you collapse them, there will be a little subtitle basically giving you the gist of what this one's all about. So like this is for the angry expression. We have a little subtitle here. This is art mesh tint for your face, mouth, head, and neck matchers. Pretty cool. When you want to make a new one, you just click this big old plus button. It gives you a pop-up about what kind of thing you want to make. So you can say like a new expression trigger, and set the corresponding properties. Delete and copy have been condensed into little buttons in this corner over here, which is nice. Instead of having a big old delete and copy button with text on them, I'm using glyphs. I've entered the 20th century for web design, and I'm using glyphs instead of just spelling everything out. To that effect, I'm going to want to try and update what's going on up here as well, because I think this connect button is not indicative of it connecting to VTube Studio, as opposed to just, I don't know, Pulsoid or something. So I need to figure this out. So yeah, you can click on like a plus here, and it will just make a thing. Glyphs. Perhaps I'm not enunciating, or maybe you haven't heard that word before. G-L-Y-P-H-S. Glyph. Pictographs. You can delete these. You can copy them, etc., etc., which is pretty handy. Taking notes. I mean, I'm taking a lot of cues from VTube Studio, honestly, in terms of UI stuff here. And then under settings, I don't think anything has really changed here. I've got an API layer for my plugin, which is fun. So you've got all your API settings. When you collapse it, it'll just tell you if the API is on or not. There's a separate section for the approved plugins. You can query them for information. This is, Party plugin made by Skeletom. It's a plugin for connecting to a third-party service. You can supply this description when you authenticate and register your plugin. If none is provided, it'll just say no description provided. You can, clear these out from here. If you want to revoke access to this plugin, you can do that, or you can keep it. That's fine. You can collapse that independently. I should probably add a connect button for VTube Studio here as well. Like we're right here. Connect. Move this button here as well. And maybe I want to add the VTube Studio icon if it looks good at a small res, like right here. I don't know. That's why I was asking about the press kit earlier. Like way earlier, a couple weeks ago. Anyway, so what I want to do is have a fourth tab for profiles that is functionally very similar to this one for outputs, we've got a thing at the very top that's like, your current profile is, and it will have the name of your model, and it'll say like what the profile is, etc., etc. Looks good at all sizes and all resolutions. I hope so. Yeah, and then it'll have a big plus so you can make a new profile, and you can rename them, and what have you. Or you can probably only rename the one that you're currently on. That's what our focus groups tell us. I see, I see. Okay. So, to that effect, or to that end rather, let's get cracking. Oh yeah, I also made a bunch of our text inputs, like, instead of little white boxes, they're these big old lines that have a big fat number on them now, which I think looks a lot better. Okay, so let's go to our nav bar. And we're gonna just add a new button here. Profiles. Button. Enable that shit right here. That was a joke, yeah, I know. Denshi, I am well aware that you don't have a focus group. It's okay. Neither do I. They only slow you down. Alright, now we will hop into VS Code. We have a little button script here that lets you go to parts of the UI. And that's just calling a part of the UI manager. Format that while I'm here. Go to, from an enum of type tabs. So we'll add another tab, profiles, equals 5. Why not? Easy, easy, easy. Then in Unity, I love that every time you compile stuff in Unity, it collapses whatever you're working on. That's always fun. Profiles. So this will now go to the Profiles tab, which means that we need to have a Profiles tab. Status indicator. Panel. Alright. So then in our canvas here, we've got a scroll view, which has 3 little modules that are kind of pretty much all the same. They're... Hold on, I gotta lower volume. Can't hear myself think. There we go. They're all pretty much the same. They've got like a content fitter, so they just expand as tall as they need to be for their vertical fit. And that's pretty much that. Let's make a new one. Boom. Put it right here. This is going to be the profiles content. UI, prefabs, modules, profiles. Previously, all the stuff about profiles was on the Outputs tab, and it was getting kind of stuffy there, so I figured this should be its own thing. Boom, original prefab. Now we can edit this thing at our leisure. Let's enable it. Cool. Don't need that. Might need this later. If I want to still use this widget, I'm not sure. I think I don't. I think this is getting completely replaced by the content here. So what do I want to do? I want to make a... let's do... What is it? Panel? That's component. Game object. UI. Panel. Like such. Width is 330. Height, this is going to have a content. What's happening? Who that is. Let's find out. IO check. Rhinacell? I'm not sure how this is meant to be pronounced. Rhinacell? Thank you for the follow, I appreciate it. There's a saying in the underworld, every time, or rather when you die, if it does not read rest in peace on your tombstone, you get drafted into the Skeleton War. So I gotta thank you for voluntarily enlisting into the Skeleton crew. You are saving some poor potential draftee from getting drafted. You've filled their seat voluntarily, I appreciate it. Rhinacell, is that right? Rhinacell? Well, welcome aboard. As you can see, I'm doing programming and or UI development in Unity right now for a plugin for VTube Studio. Welcome, welcome. I'm happy to have you here. I'm now a skeleton. I mean, we all are, at some point. Okay, so let's see. We're going to add a content fitter. Vertical fit. Preferred size. We will add a title panel. Oh yeah, and this also needs a vertical layout group, is how I do all of these. With a spacing of 10, padding left and right of 10 and 10. Yeah, dude, the skeleton is the real you. The you that you think is you is just a pilot. Or an exoskeleton, in some senses, for the real skeleton. It's armor. Alright, why does this not look right? This should be wider. Why isn't this wider? 350. That's what it's supposed to be. Title panel. And then 10 is how we set these things up, I believe, typically. They always have a bunch of padding like that. I think. Yeah, like such. That's how I always set these up. So they've got a nice amount of padding, all uniform. We have a title bar here. Let me set up my collapse button here. Yeah, that's fine. I wasn't trying to mess with stuff. Alright, so the collapse button needs a reference to the root object, which is this guy. And then the actual content, we'll get to that in a minute. And then if there's any minimized stuff. Yeah, I don't know how familiar you are with this particular plugin, but I'm in the final phases for a release on the 25th. And I am guessing it might lead to some increased visibility because of the nature and circumstances of said release. So I gotta make sure that this is very, very presentable and much more user-friendly than it was. I've kind of added so many features to this that it's getting a little unwieldy if I just keep following my minimum viable product approach. So I want this to be usable. I also want to record a tutorial video on how to use this. So I want the UI to be like done. I don't want to have to record a video and then in the next update change all the UI so the tutorial no longer matches up with what people see. So I gotta get this done now, but I think all the features are functional, and if not, I have a checklist ahead of release that I will be using to do that. Let's see. Profile info. Like such. And then that's gonna have where's my Text Mesh Pro? Oh, right, I keep doing components by accident. Tools, or game object, UI. So this is a height of 30. And it's gonna say what do we want to have here? Let's see, font, like such, pick the color, much too big, that's what, size 16? Probably less. Then she likes the soundtrack. I will never forget the moment that you immediately identified the specific remix CD I was listening to by name. You were like, oh, is this? And I copy-pasted the name of the video. The answer is yes. Speaking of, we are currently listening to... Let me put that in chat. I've listened to this over 100 times in full, yeah. I have this on CD, so I listen to this when I drive, also. We're listening to that, because Sega is very, very generous and has not slapped me yet for listening to licensed music on stream. Alright, then let's center this text as well. Alignment, vertical, midline. Trying to think how I want this to be, because the top is going to be... Actually, really, I guess just the... I'm trying to think what I want this to be. Is the title here gonna be Skeletom? Or is it going to be like this? I'm not sure. Because in that case, I don't need this second layer of text. It would just be like this, and then I'd have some buttons on the corner here. My thought, though, is that once I add those other buttons that I want to add, like a delete and a copy, there's not a lot of space for the name. Like if your character name, I don't know what people normally name their model, but this would basically be about exactly as much space as you have for a piece of text. Like for example, let me go find another example. There's a what is it? Color selection. I'm gonna add these two other buttons, right? Copy and delete. So profile. So we go here. Always a pain in the ass to get these things to align. Unity does not have a very user-friendly UI system at all. I have to be totally frank. There's a lot of reasons to hate Unity. This is definitely one of them. They've also remade their UI system like 3 or 4 times at this point. So it's a challenge. The new one I think is more like CSS, which is good or bad. It's 40, 90, nope, 80, yeah. And then text. I think it's like that, is how I have it set. So yeah, as you can see, you don't really have a lot of space. Nobody knows. I don't mean that the UI of their editor is not user-friendly. I actually really like their inspector. I mean building a UI for your application inside Unity with the UI library that they have built is not great. It's very cumbersome. It's fine when you get used to it because you can think of it as building blocks, which is why I stick to this version. I think the editor is actually great. It's got like a learning curve, but I think it has a lot of correct, intelligent decisions. I never feel like I'm slowed down by it. Yeah, I mean, same, right? Lua asked me to put together some information on how to use, how to build UIs in Unity, because she's a command line girl and doesn't know how to, or doesn't really feel comfortable making programs with interfaces yet. So I'm trying to think about all the stuff I do unconsciously and how I think about assembling UI in this application. Yeah. The best way to think is just thinking about it as Lego bricks and just snapping things together in this way in terms of hierarchies and stuff. I think the new Unity UI approach, which is version 3 of their UI, by the way, is much more like CSS, and I have not really looked much more into it because I simply cannot be bothered to learn a brand new way of doing something. I'm stuck in this way. This way works for me. I'm going to keep doing this until they take it from me. But the first way was all code-based, and there was like an on-GUI function where you could programmatically write out where all of your things were going to be rendered every frame. No good. Very bad. Version 2.0 is this library where your UI is actually composed of game objects, which I think is the most intuitive way to do it, because everything else in Unity is a game object, so you can snap pieces together, and there are components like we were seeing here that are like a layout group and content size fitters and things like that. All very intuitive, I think. They make things in a component-based system. And then I keep saying I don't know anything about the version 3.0, but I know that they talk about it being like WebDev, which is probably great if you're learning it fresh, but I don't know. Nancy, it sounds like you're volunteering to draw me a bunch of cute animals for my UI, which I really appreciate, frankly. I will DM you later about, exactly what to send me for that. The release is also on the 25th, so you have about 4 days. Probably less because I want to get a video going, so, time's ticking. Chop, chop. Okay, time to actually do stuff here. Okay. So we've got some buttons. We need to make them do stuff in a moment. But for now, it's going to look like this. And then there's one more button to add. Which we'll do like that. And this is going to have a width of 330, height of 30. This could probably also stand to have a glyph. But this is basically just going to say load. And so our list of profiles is going to have like Skeletom, default. When you minimize it, you can copy the settings to your current profile. Actually, this doesn't need a tooltip, so we can get rid of that one and scoot these other guys over. Like that. There's no need for a tooltip for your profile, because I don't think there's any additional information about it. Maybe I'll regret that later and I'll think of something to add. There we go. So we can fit a little more space. You got one that's not nappy. It better be a tortoise. Otherwise, I don't even know why you're talking to me. Alright, now let me consult the big list of strings to find out what I named the load button. Button generic load, perfect. All of the text in my app is done through a localization library that I built, where you can specify the key, like such. It looks against a giant CSV, which has first column is the key, every other column is the individual language set, so it can swap out text nice and easily. So load, cool. Title here is going to need to not have that, because we're not going to localize that. So that's well and good. And now let's finally make this a prefab, I suppose. UI, prefab, modules, profiles, profile info module. Cool. Okay. So now let's make a script for this. UI scripts. Hop into VS Code. Okay. What does this need to do? This is going to need some configure method. Public void. Actually, let's there's an easy way to do this. Public void from save data. And then it's going to be profile info, I think. Data. I've got this save data manager which handles the I/O layer. I'm really glad that I abstracted it out because as you can maybe see from the side here, I think it's close to 1,000 lines long. Oh, not even close, it's only 500. But this handles all the I/O for everything, abstracted away from any of the actual working logic, which is nice and good. It's probably very squirrely though. You can see I've fallen into my toxic trait of making ternaries for everything, which is cool. So what's this thing gonna need? We're gonna have a, I don't think this needs an update loop at all. Private, we can probably just make a field that is this data. What's actually in here? Again, it's model name, model ID, profile name, profile ID. Cool. And then we just need that. Okay, yeah. So we can just do private data. This is going to be a rare case where the, or maybe I can refactor this later. For all my other modules, like the color ones and the expression ones, you set those up, and then at the end, when we go to save something, we round them all up, we turn them into JSON, and we put them in the save file. Here, the profiles are handled because they're already written to a file, so I don't think the UI here needs to have a toSaveData data method, which is kind of unorthodox. But this .data is just going to equal data. And then we're going to say we have, I love this song. This is probably my favorite Sonic R song, other than maybe the credits music. Private. Oh, Denshi, while I have your attention, I have one other dumb question about the new art mesh selector that you've added. I'm very excited about this. It will replace me needing to send people to Hawkbar's website, which, while he is doing a great service and it's a great tool, it feels very hackneyed to be like, ah, here's this other guy's third-party tool when it's supported. This is such a good song. Okay, so I know you said you don't support rich text in the custom description for the pop-up for selecting art meshes. Hi Toto, welcome, welcome. We're building a UI in Unity. So Denshi, is there a way that you could have a field where you can pass in a color to highlight when you select? I'm sure that, I think the default is like a crimson that you currently have, right? Oh, thank you, thank you, thank you, yeah. I try my best. VTubing is very cool because people get to express themselves in fun and exciting ways. And I simply want to help people be able to actualize that, feel as real as they can in their two-dimensional skin. So, make tools, I shall. That's all I'm good for anyway. Okay, Denshi, I keep dropping the volume. Yeah, can I, for the pop-up request for selecting art meshes, is there a way that you could have a field where you pass in a color code that is the color that when you select an art mesh, it will tint that color? I'm getting like really greedy by asking this. There's probably no reason, but that would be very, very useful for me specifically if I could customize the highlight color. I know you said no to rich text for the description, but if I could tint the selected art meshes the color that they're going to be tinted when the character is fully flushed, that would be cool for me, and probably useless for literally everybody else. If you say no to this, I won't be crushed. What was I doing? PMP Pro. Oh yeah, we need to using Unity. You don't get it. That's fair. Let me see if I can... Kinda drunk right now. What are you drinking? That's the most important part. I'll put it in text. I'll write it in the beta feedback section. Is this not a thing? Oh, using unnecessary directive. TM Pro. No? What the fuck is the library called? Does anybody know? Yeah, I'll put it in Discord. I'll put it in the appropriate form. I can't abuse my privilege of having you here. What the fuck is it called? I'm going into... Hold on. I'm going cuckoo bananas here. It's just TM Pro. There's no Unity engine aspect of it. Okay. I hate this shit. Does drunk coding work? Yes, absolutely. There's a whole phenomena called the... Balmer's Peak, which is from an XKCD comic. I'm trying to see if there's a Wikipedia article about it. There isn't. I'll just link you the XKCD comic. Drunk coding absolutely works. Painfully effective. Hello, Lua. You're just in time. Yeah. Balmer Peak is basically a very, very narrow band of blood alcohol content where your programming is super effective. Everything before and after that, it is degraded. But at a niche, tiny little window, you have, like, the eyes of God, and you can see everything. You've been lurking since the start. Don't even say hello. I see how it is. I had a lot of fun listening to you and your friends gush over the Germa baseball stream. I have to let you know I was not watching the Germa baseball stream because I was busy doing this kind of stuff and I can't split my focus three ways. But it's very endearing to hear you guys get excited about stuff. I was having a fun time imagining in my head what could possibly be happening with the reactions you're making. What's happening? Thank you, Paper Joey1, for the... I think you just followed and are also a subscriber. Were you not following before? Hold on. I didn't know you could do that. Thank you for the follow, and also for being a 6-month sub, Paper Joey. You are, once again, a member of the Skeleton crew. We found out this morning that there's a team that does Germa baseball for real on ESPN. I don't know what you mean by that. Like, they commentate it? What is, quote, Germa base? Is it... So, here's something I wasn't clear on. Is there, like, a defined rule set for Germa baseball? Or... I thought he was just pretending, like, we're gonna play baseball, and then a bunch of hijinks happen. But, is there, like, is it a specific rule set that was made clear? I don't know. Germa played baseball between clowns and wizards in Missouri. Oh, wait, okay. Do you mean, when you say Germa baseball, you mean there's, like, a joke team on ESPN, kind of like the Harlem Globetrotters or whatever, where they are a quote-unquote baseball team, but they're really just a bunch of rodeo clowns who do, like, cool, showy tricks? Is that what you mean? Not actually related to Germa specifically. It's a Germa-like, a Germa imitator. TMP text. Title. Oh, that's great. I love that. This. Germa-like. My favorite genre of baseball. The Germa-likes. Data. Oops. I'm pressing the wrong buttons today. Explaining. And then we're going to have... let's see. I'm going to use my own proprietary library here. Using Unity Engine... Or rather, it's just inputtools.ui. Right? UI... Input tools, there we go. I have made a button class. Lua, if you hold on just a moment, I can show you the changes I've made to the UI in advance of our big release coming up. I'm curious what your thoughts are, because last time I did a big release, you gave me a laundry list of good things to fix, and then I did that for the subsequent release, and I think I'm better off for it. So I know you always talk about not having like a a designer's eye for making UI and stuff, but I think you've got a better intuition than I do. Okay, this dot load button. On pointer up. Add listener. I'm good at QA because I'm stupid and have caveman brain, so I get confused easily. Denshi, again, I really appreciate you volunteering to draw cute animals for my UI. I'll definitely add those as soon as you send them over. I'll be waiting. For real, if you send me a cute animal, I'll find a way to incorporate it. But I am not an artist. I do not have any visual capacity to think. I can think only in abstract concepts, or if I'm lucky, I can get some shapes. How about cute animal skeletons? Alright, hold on. Holy shit! You've done it again, Denshi! What? Oh, for what purpose, though? Where would this even go? Where would this go? You've fucking done it again. Okay, hold on, this compiles, right? Alright, so in our Chrome save data, we show the title, make our load button actually do something. Cool, cool, very good. Alright, so real quick here, let's, from the top, Lua, while you're able to pay attention, here's some of the changes we've made. Oh, hold on. One other thing I need to disable before I show that off. Hide the in-progress profiles menu. Hi Ricky, what's up? How's it going? Okay, first things first. The ranges here. Oh, thank you, Denshi. I was gonna thank Lua, but of course, no, it's Denshi with his incredibly deep pockets. He's got that VTube studio money. Thank you. Lua, welcome aboard, etc., etc. You get access to some pretty good emotes. You know the drill. There you go. Okay, so, first things first. You'll notice that every single piece of the UI is collapsible now. This is a tremendous, tremendous improvement, as it should be. I can't believe I didn't do this from day one. Clicking on the title or clicking on the little caret will make things expand or collapse. Very good. For input methods and other things that have like a network connectivity aspect, when you collapse, it'll show the connection status because I think that's important to always have. Denshi, it's very generous of you to have just offered to draw me an emote. I'll add that to the invoice after the cute animal for this application. I really appreciate you volunteering to provide me with art to add to my stream and to my application. Oh yeah, I forgot the WoW one. Okay, so yeah, we've got things are collapsible. Inputs are a little snazzier here. It's like just on a flat line rather than in a white box. In the actual output section, things are organized more intelligently. New things are added at the top now. When you click on this plus, it asks you what you want to make, basically. Things are like, new expression trigger. Cool. 190. Cool, you can copy it, you can delete them. Very good. These are also collapsible. When you collapse them, they give a little subtitle about the kind of information that they contain. I need to fix the hotkey from showing the hotkey ID to the actual name of the hotkey. I'll get to that soon. Expressions show what expression they are. The art mesh tint shows what matchers it's using, and it still has the gradient for the full to 0 color. And of course, you can finally collapse the custom parameters as such. I've added the ability to scroll for pop-ups, which was not an easy feat. Unity UI really is absolute pants for this kind of thing, but you can do that, which is good because we now have 15 custom parameters in here that I need to explain in this pop-up. So that's cool. We'll get to the fourth tab here. I'm making a tab for the custom profiles now. Unity scroll bars are impressively bad. And then I think that's pretty much it. Then stuff in the settings is mostly the same. I cleaned up the API stuff a little bit They now have like a, do you want to delete? Give you information about what this plugin is if they provided a description when they published it, etc., etc. That's collapsible. This is collapsible. Everything's collapsible. So I've got that. I'm currently building a page for displaying profiles, which is a big feature, and then I can kind of clean up what I've got going on up here. And then I gotta clean up this connect button, because I know you mentioned not understanding that this was connected to VTube Studio and not, say, connected to Pulsoid. So these are my plans. So what I'm up to. I have a question. Are the input tabs just one tab per hotkey? Or is it a tab per setting? I'm not sure what you mean. Inputs, which would be your heart rate ranges and how you're getting your heart rate data. And then outputs, you make one of these little modules. I need to clean this up too. I want to make this number input a lot like the one on the heart rate ranges, where it's just like a flat line. So outputs, okay. Yeah. So, like, you can have another hotkey. This one's gonna trigger my item scene. It'll fire the hotkey both when we have a rising edge above and a falling edge below, 150 BPM. So we've got that one. Oh, I picked the same hotkey. Let's do a different. My blush emote. So one hotkey, different hotkey. That's what the little subtext here is going to be. It shouldn't be the hash of the actual identifier. Like here for the expression one, it says angry. This is going to say, like, you know, blush expression or whatever. And then this will say, you know, this is the art mesh for your face, mouth, head, and neck matchers, etc., etc. I guess I could go either way, but I've decided to do this. I think this is sufficient. I don't think that's a deal breaker one way or the other. Let's get rid of this. We don't need this anymore. Maybe I'm wrong, but I think that's apparent. I realize it's kind of small on the screen on the stream, but when this app is also running in editor at about 75% actual size, so I think it'll be more readable on like a full-size version of the app. Good question though, I think. I hope that answers your question. Profiles, content, profile info module. Tab title and subtitle, but that's just me. I guess. Like, what I'm doing here for the profiles is the title is the name of the profile. So that's kind of what you're talking about there. I don't know. I don't really have a strong preference one way or the other. The benefit of having the title be up top is I have less text real estate, and I want the text to be bigger. So I can guarantee that, like, hotkey trigger fits with the buttons. But if their name of their hotkey is something really, really long, I can't guarantee that that will fit nicely, but I have more real estate with smaller text at the bottom. Yeah, it's like you said, it's personal preference. The information is there, and you don't have to look any further to find it. You might be right. I don't know. But when I have like a big impact title like this, I think it makes sense to use as much of a safe name as you can. Okay, so we've got our module here, our title, like that, and our button, like that. So we'll know to assign those things. And then let me open up this hotkey module. We have clone and delete. I'm still on the fence about how I want to handle the clone function. So I thought it would be handy to let you copy settings from one model. Originally, back when I only had one profile per model, right? My thought was, okay, say you're somebody like Lua Lucky, and you have, I don't know, 12 live 2D models, and one of them is your, sporty Lua, and one of them is your Animal Crossing Lua, and one of them is your normal maid Lua for your house cleaning streams. My thought was, okay, so you have all of your complex tinting and hotkey and expression stuff set up, so you should be able to copy those settings across from one model to another. Cool, that makes sense. Problem is, the other model, even though maybe the matchers will be the same for the art meshes, it will have different IDs for its hotkeys, and it will have different IDs for its expressions, I'm pretty sure. So I'm not certain that it's actually useful to be able to copy settings across models. I feel like maybe you should only be able to copy from another profile of the same model that you're trying to copy to. That would be quite helpful, okay. Yeah, I don't know how to get around it though, because like hotkeys are all like, GUID based, right? It would have to be name matching, I guess. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think expressions are GUID matching. I think they match on file name, in which case you're safe, I think. But hotkeys are all GUID based, because those are made in VTube Studio rather than as a function of the live 2D model. So I don't know that I can safely do that. I don't know. That might be something for like the next incremental version. Okay, but you're saying it would be useful, so I'll keep that feature in. Right now I have a pop-up that's like, you want to copy settings from profile A to profile B. These are across different models. We can't guarantee that your hotkey settings will be saved. Yeah, the hotkeys are usually named the same. Okay, okay. This is also me having no idea what the actual average user's use case is, because I have one model that has very few features, so I'm not a power user for VTubing at all. Okay. So let's comment this out for now. Yeah, hotkey's ideas are GUIDs, that's what I said. And you remove the hyphens. I am keenly aware because I've looked at them exactly once and can immediately identify that as a 32-character GUID. Yes. So my point is, like, if the way my modules are set up right now is they remember the hotkey ID, so that even if you rename them, it'll still remember what hotkey you meant. Which is, I'm assuming, a very common thing to do. I, for example, don't have any of my hotkeys named except for the ones that I named in order to test that I was able to display the name of the hotkey correctly. And I am. But otherwise I don't name them, because why would I? I just have them bound to Stream Deck or other areas. There we go. Or like numeric hotkeys. So I save everything by GUID to keep them safe from volatile strings and names, etc., etc. But expressions, I think, are just file names, so those should be good to go across models, assuming that the expression exists. Okay, so delete model profile, cool. So then we can go to our delete button here. Yeah. On pointer up. Delete, copy, on pointer up. Clone. Alright. Sounds good. And we already have our load thing hooked up automatically. Actually, is that how I did that here? I don't know. That's weird that I decided, oh, the load button we need to set up programmatically, but the clone and delete we should hook up by the UI. That's bad, because it's doing the same thing two different ways. Would not recommend doing that. Okay. And then we need some way to... I'll say this every time this comes up. This is the best song in Sonic 06. That game really sucked and was complete dog water for a lot of reasons. Very few of which are actually the developer's fault. But, the music's good. So So now we need a way to actually make this list get populated. And we also need... on the Sonic movies, I haven't seen the first Sonic movie because I was told it was kind of cringe and kind of maybe like propaganda because his buddy's a cop and they're like, damn, he's the hero of the story. But I did watch the second movie as part of a VTuber watch along, and I did like the second movie, which I'm told leaned way more into being a video game movie than the first one did. I've only seen the second. Because like I said, I was not... Well, the first one came out, like, middle of pandemic before... No, actually it came out right before the pandemic, didn't it? It was 2019, Sonic Movie 1. I was told it was just, like, kind of awkward or whatever. Didn't really capture the Sonic essence, but I did watch the second one. And I liked the second one, so maybe I'll go back and watch the first one. Though I don't feel like I needed to have watched the first one to get the second one. Which is good, I think. That's how it probably should be. Where's my UI manager? First one's aight. The last movie I saw in theaters before lockdown was Char's Counterattack, the Gundam movie, because they were doing a screening of it for like some anniversary. But the last movie I saw before that was Cats. And I'm really, really fucking glad that Cats was not the last movie I ever got to see in theaters. Yeah, Jim Carrey does a good job being Eggman. I'm a big Eggman enthusiast. He's one of my favorite video game characters. I think that guy's awesome, cool, very funny. Oh, no, not that. Profiles, content is what I'm going to say here. Excellent, Lua. So, the theater we went to has a in-house bar. So, Bon really wanted to go see Cats, but Bon didn't want to see Cats sober. So I had to go as the dedicated driver, which meant I had to watch Cats agonizingly sober, which was a lot of fun. In the front row, and you sang along. You and I had different experiences then. I did not like it. I was unable to appreciate it for pretty much any of its merits. But I guess my brain doesn't work in the right way. Very bad movie. I did not like it. Oh, okay. I can tolerate watching trash run at home, but like sitting in a theater and having paid money for it, I was just like not pleased. But Vaughn got to watch it drunk, so Vaughn's the real winner. Ooh. Interesting. Why? That's not how that's supposed to look. Why? Why? This is not how... So, Lua, you know how I keep talking about how the Unity UI editor sucks? Here's what the prefab looks like. Awesome. Organized. Exactly what I wanted it to look like. Here's what it looks like. Same prefab in my scene. For what purpose? For what possible reason? Doesn't matter, because these are going to be dynamically added in a little bit. So... where they are to start with doesn't matter. We'll just be creating instances of this prefab. But I wanted to sample it. This is literally exactly why. Yeah, that's fine. As soon as we get this release done, I'm going to get back to preparing a slide deck. But this is priority number 1. Okay. So my plan here is I'm going to have a little section up top that's like your current profile, and it'll have the name. You won't be able to delete it because it's your current profile, and you won't be able to copy it. That one will probably have a little question mark about like what are profiles. The frickin' tutorial is coming probably not next weekend, but maybe the weekend thereafter. Next weekend, I think Lua has like a donathon for her friend Farah, and I don't want to intrude on that. But we were originally planning for doing a collab on talking about doing a tutorial for Unity UI, and then other things have come in the way that are more pressing. Okay, so yeah, we'll have a little window up here that's like your current profile, and then you'll have a space where you can write in the name. I'm busy for the next 2 weekends, that's fine. Me too. Oh, let's not keep pinging closer also. Thank you, Ricky. Thank you for stopping by. Have a good evening. And dare I say, good night. Sorry, I just like totally spaced. Yeah, so I gotta make a thing that shows your current profile, and then I'll have a little section that lets you rename it, instead of having that be up here. I will probably still also display what your current profile is at the top here, just because I feel like that's good heads-up information to always have. Like, no matter what tab, like if you're editing outputs, you should probably know what your profile is. Also, I'll make it so clicking on up here, on the text, on your name, will take you immediately to this tab. So you can see your profile and where profiles are. And then clicking this will make a new profile for your current model. And I think that's the plan. Yeah. Collapse button. Where is your pointer to the root here? Content. I want to find out how to become a Sega ambassador like Korone, because I love Sonic, and he's real and he's my friend, so I want to pay it forward for all of the important pieces of life history and advice that he's given me. I truly want to shill from the rooftops. Oh, that reminds me. The best Sonic fan game I've ever played that's not actually a Sonic game, but started as one, Freedom Planet, has a sequel coming out. Freedom Planet 2. I've been waiting for it for, I think, 7 years, and then last week, or like maybe 2 weeks ago, they're like, oh yeah, it's coming out on September 13th, by the way. They haven't like announced a release date, and it's been radio silent for quite a while, and they just come out with the release day. So I will absolutely be streaming a full Let's Play of Freedom Planet 2 whenever that lines up with my weekend time, whatever the first weekend after that is. I am so stoked for that game. It's very good. It's fully voice acted, for better or worse, which is very exciting. Let me go pull up the Steam page. I love this game. Freedom Planet 2. A sequel to Freedom Planet. Freedom Planet. This one. I can't wait. Planned release date September 13th. Frothing at the mouth. Beyond eager to play this. The first one was great. Felt like the perfect thing Sonic made for fans by fans before Sonic Mania came out. Super good. Yeah, it's really nice. Like I said, it's fully voice acted, the first one. It's kind of like if Sonic and, not Mighty Switch Force. Gunstar Heroes. If Sonic and Gunstar Heroes came together, it would be this game. And the sequel looks like it delivers even more on that premise, which is exciting. Can't wait to play it. Can't wait to buy a copy for everybody I know. Okay. I will. Yeah, I'm gonna do a full Let's Play of Freedom Planet 2 as soon at my earliest convenience after it releases, for sure. That is a lock. It is a game laser targeted for me specifically, so I will play it. Let's see. Can I get a ring? Yes! There we go. What was I doing? Okay, so now we need a way to populate the... thank you. You don't get a ring. We need some way to now populate the... these little modules. Sometimes that just happens. What? Getting a ring? Yeah. It's a, I think, 50-50 shot. Except I have really good RNG. Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, I just like Sonic the Hedgehog a whole lot. I got deeply Sonic pilled after playing Sonic CD and watching the opening OVA and thinking that was the coolest thing in the entire world. Really? You like Cult of the Lamb? That's interesting. I haven't seen much of that game. I watched Kason play it a little bit, and it has like Twitch integration, which is cool. But I didn't really grasp what it was, other than like a game where you can have your viewers be named after, or where you can have like moderate viewer interaction. It's cool. Definitely a good game for streamers, and boy howdy are there a lot of streamers now. I didn't realize it had like an end game. I thought it was just a like never-ending survival game. That's interesting. Okay. So now I'm trying to think, how do I want to do this? We had a... VS Code now. Exactly, that's what I'm saying. There's a boon of streamers right now. Okay, so the profile selector used to just be like a single widget. I'm trying to think how I want to handle this. Basically, I need a way to... Maybe this goes in the save data manager. I kind of liked having that be purely IO. I need some way to populate that drop down, and so like the outputs and inputs are populated by my heart rate plugin, because it's concerned with like what is the representation for all these pieces of data that are going in and out of VTube Studio. I don't have an individual like manager per tab, and the settings one doesn't need anything because it's just a bunch of prefabricated presets. Yeah, I mean, it's cool. It's definitely cool. Though it's a lot of work to have to make, like, specific to Twitch integrations. Because, like, what happens if Twitch falls out of favor? Your game becomes unplayable. What happens if your streamers are on YouTube? Do you have to support both? That sounds like a real pain in the ass. Oh, it sure is a pain in the ass. Imagine having to connect to the Twitch API, Lua. Can you imagine such a thing? Can you imagine? Well, you say just do Twitch, but like a ton of... You say that, but like almost all the Japanese VTubers I know are YouTube. They love YouTube for whatever reason. Just in the same way that like Japanese fans won't use Discord. They are very beholden to their particular platforms. I cannot explain it, but that's the way it is. They're out of their mind. They know what they know is the thing. So that's my experience anyway. Zooch the Pooch. That's a good username, I think. I hope that's a good name. Thank you for the ring. Wow, everybody's got the good RNG. YouTube has its uses. For example, Lua only streams her quote bangers on YouTube, the good ones. All right, I gotta figure out how I want to do this. Do I make a script for attaching to the... Like, I want to follow a pattern here. I don't know what the right way to do that here is. Maybe it's just make the save data manager have hooks to the UI. Yeah, let's do that for now. I liked having that kind of be purely IO based, but maybe I should. Oh, updating the open source stuff was last week. Is that still what my stream says? Does it say that's what I'm doing right now? I hope not. Open source library stuff was... Oh, and oh man, my stream still says get the library for free. Hold on. I forgot to update those things. Get the plugin. There we go. I'm currently updating a plugin for VTube Studio. No, I just hit update right now. I must have forgot to hit the go ahead until you brought it up. Last week was updating a library. I'll be doing it again soon because Denchi always adds more features. But today I'm updating a plugin, which is also free. And you can get it at the other URL that I've now posted. Okay. So, plugin tokens, helper methods. Make a new region. I love every language should have this kind of region thing where you can just collapse arbitrary sections of your code. It's so good for readability. And in here. That. Am I doing good? Yeah, actually, I think so. I'm getting geared up for release later early next week, middle of next week, not early or late. Region, okay, and region, yeah. So I'm trying to make this very, very pretty and usable because it's been a MVP for a while, and now it's time to actually make this prepared to be seen by other human beings. But I'm making good progress on having this be usable. Or presentable. It's always been very usable. I'm very proud of this. It's robust. I don't have too many people complain about things blowing up on it. Always nice. And since you're new, I haven't seen you before too much, I don't think. Though it didn't say you were a first-time chatter, so I apologize if I am forgetting. Oh, you've been around before. How can I forget? My apologies. Oh, you've been around before. I'm sorry. But yeah, we're working on a plugin that connects heart rate monitors to VTube Studio, so you can have your model animated according to your pulse, get flushed, scared, etc., etc. Based on the heart monitor. That. We're gonna say, actually, we're gonna do register event callback. Who among us is not? So busy. There's always more deadlines. Having to juggle them has not been enjoyable. I always do this to myself, where I always get super crunched. Right. Pretty much. So like right now, I'm crunching for this deadline, and as soon as I finish this one, I have another self-imposed deadline, which is way further out, but it's a project I'm really excited to work on that's due in the middle of November. And between here and there, I think I will probably end up having a lot of other stuff to do as well. But I always set myself up for this. Always, 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 where I'm down to the wire for everything. It's almost as though I can't focus until it's too late. Okay, so for our profile selector, how are we... What does this return? What is this? Dictionary of strings to model profile info. Interesting. Big mood. Yeah. So like, not this time last year. I've got a month until it'll be this time last year. But 11 months ago, or yeah, 11 months ago, I was crunching extremely hard for being a solo dev, or solo engineer, I should say, on the 1 million subscribers commemorative game for Skeletom, which was a lot of fun. I say with very rose-tinted glasses. I was stressed out of my mind working on that because it was like very high visibility. I was working with a lot of artists that I deeply respect, but I also was the only English speaker on the team. Everybody else was, you know, Japanese because Skeletom is a Japanese streamer. So going back and forth and requesting revisions for art was almost a non-starter, and we were working on such a short deadline that requesting revisions just wasn't feasible, especially because of the 13-hour time difference. So I had to cut a lot of corners and make do with what I had and improvise a lot. The general design of the game was mostly left up to my discretion, so I went with making a Fantasy Zone clone where you could go either way, instead of having like a linear scroller because I couldn't be bothered to design levels. So I just had very short levels that you could go STG. I don't know what that means. STG. I'm trying to think what that would stand for. STG. Denchi, you gotta help me out here. Shooting game. What's the T stand for? But yes, it was a space shooter. It was like Fantasy Zone. You could scroll left to right, level wrapped forever until you blew up all the like mothership enemies, and then you'd have to fight a boss. And so I had to, I literally programmed every single system of that game, down from the parallax of the background to the wrapping of the level, having boss patterns, enemy patterns, being able to move enemies around. all of that. Very stressful. It taught me a lot. It taught me how video games, or fan games rather, are supposed to just be vehicles to convey as much animated and interactive fan art as humanly possible. If you get hung up on the fan game being like a quote-unquote good game or like innovative or challenging game, I think you're going to trip over your own ass and just stumble. What does the T stand for in STG then? Interesting. I've never heard that before, but you can tell how much Japanese culture I understand. Jams Collar. Dude. Sonic Mania soundtrack for the win. Yes, thank you. Welcome, Jams. We're shooting... That's what I was thinking, right, Denji? Sega's very, very generous and let me play this without copyright striking my stream. So I will listen to Sonic music day in and day out. I'm also a big Sonic fan. Let's see if I can roll the dice. There we go. Perfect. Yeah, this is Studiopolis. So I probably don't need to make this a dictionary function anymore. But it's probably fine. Whoa, instant follow. He loves it so much. Thank you, thank you. There's a saying here in the Underworld, Jams, which is, if it does not read rest in peace on your tombstone, you get drafted into the Skeleton War. So I have to thank you for voluntarily enlisting. You've saved some poor draftee from getting, you know, drafted. You're occupying their seat and you're doing it voluntarily, so I have to thank you. Right now we're working on updating a plugin for VTube Studio that lets users connect a heart rate monitor to VTube Studio as a tracking parameter, so their models can get flushed, trigger, you know, all sorts of anime expressions, and other such behaviors based on their heart rate. Thank you, thank you. Yeah. It was very stressful. I was stressed out of my mind. I like barely ate for a month because I was so stressed getting things delivered with a 12 or 13 hour time difference to a group of people I respect but could not communicate with because of a language barrier. So that was fun. I told myself never again. And then her birthday rolled around in June, and I got called in from the cold. But this time I had a lot more, I planned better, and I had 2 months to make the thing. Do it for the Yoshi, right? So I had 2 months to do the thing. And I was able to comfortably finish that with a week before the deadline. And we were able to, you know, stress test it and everything. And that was the dress-up game, which she also played on stream. And that was a great day. I was very, very happy. There were over 550 individual pieces of art submitted that I had to individually by hand notarize and sort with the help from one other team member who helped me figure out the sorting order of every single individual piece of art. And so I had to embed those by hand and give them all unique IDs and everything and add them to the library of art assets. That was fun, but that was some simple web dev. I had a lot of fun making that. We planned way better. And so now we're looking at, come October, it's going to be 1 year of Kason as a VTuber on her own. And so I told myself, well, she's got 1.5 million subscribers now. I'm sure somebody will make something great for her with or without my involvement. But I haven't seen anything crop up yet, so I'm kind of anxious about that because I really don't. I'm kind of burnt out. Is the problem. I want to work on other stuff, but I also want to make sure that she gets stuff for her anniversary. So I don't know what to do. But first things first is this needs to get solved because the due date for this, I have to do it. But there are so many VTubers, Denshi, that need my approval and love. There's a bystander effect. Yeah, I know what you mean. It's got to be me. It doesn't. There's so many talented. 1.5 million subscribers. Surely somebody's going to be able to put together a cool project. I don't know. I don't feel that way. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. What am I doing here? Okay, so String. What the fuck was the function called? There we go. And we're gonna do for each. I mean, you're an anime character, and it's a hallmark of anime characters that some other anime characters show up and point out how they're the subject of the call to adventure. No, 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 you are mistaken. I'm not the protagonist of this story. I am simply the supporting character that tells the protagonist the advice they need to get on with their lives and go achieve greatness. I myself am not the protagonist of this story, at least. Or sadly mistaken. The hero's journey of burnout. So true. Alright, so for every profile. There we go. We basically need to instantiate a new one of those little guys. Where's my... I should sort these also. I appreciate the pep talk, everybody. I'm not like, I'm not like depressed about it. I'm not like, nobody needs me. I don't need to do this thing. Just like, I don't have the time. I was hoping somebody else could pick up the torch this once, but it doesn't seem like it's gonna come out. Or, I'm not privy to it. We're gonna see. We're gonna do... such. He's gonna be crying if you don't. Oh, God. Don't joke. You're gonna make me upset. Don't need to do that. This. Oh, actually, I do need to keep a list of these because I need to clear them out afterwards. Yeah, I need to do something like this. I'm sure something will crop up. I'm sure it'll be fine. Because I need to... I'm such a squirrely programmer. Yeah, so I need to clear out the list of currently rendered profiles in that list, but I don't want to delete every child of that menu, because some of them are like important UI buttons. So we do need a list of these. Okay. So we have that. And up in my initialize function, I've got... In my initialize function, I've got this configured to events. So whenever we read a profile or write a profile, we repopulate the tab, which should be fine. So now I just need to go back into my main scene and find my save data manager, profile prefab, and profile tab. So let's see, we got it's gonna be this guy. So let's see if this works. Let's go in Unity and see if this actually works. Or if I get like god-awful null pointers. No null pointer exception, so what happens if I go here? Not quite. I hear jump it up, but I don't know, I've never played Sonic Free Riders. It's interesting that that's what you hear. Interesting. Why has it done this? Skeletom. Okay, it's rendered these many times. Interesting. Oh, I know why. I'm dumb. Because I had literally made that list and it was like, we don't need to do anything with this. Just stop. Add. I have no idea. I wasn't listening to any of the subtext, Lua, but music and art is all about how you interpret it, so I think that's a perfectly valid way to interpret the song. Why this is more correct, but not quite. Sounds good. Let me know when you're back. Alright. So, like, what gives? I don't get it. What's going on here? Oh! I'm telling them to parent to the wrong thing. I'm dumb. Okay. My mistake. Turn that off. That's just an example. A dummy. There we go. here's and backwards, a common mistake. Hey, there we go. That looks correct. There they are. This is, in fact, every profile. I think I'd probably want to sort these somehow. Okay, so what happens if I try and load? No model default. Loading a profile that belongs to a model other than the currently active model is not currently supported. Yes, this is correct. This maybe this is just me being a bad programmer and not wanting to solve a problem. Maybe I should just gray out the button if you can't load the profile. But basically what would happen is you'd load the profile for a model that's not the one you currently have, and the art mesh matchers would work, but for the reasons I was talking about before, where your hotkeys have like different GUIDs and the expressions are probably different across different models, it would immediately overwrite those because it wouldn't be able to find them, and then it would set them to like null or whatever, and then it would write the file again. So you'd fuck up your save data by doing that. So I'm not sure if I should just disable the load button if it's a different model than the one you currently have, or if I should let them click it and then there's like a pop-up, because I feel like just graying it out and not explaining why it's grayed out is kind of bad UX. Just like, oh, why can't, like, is the file corrupted? You know, what's the issue here? The pop-up is better. It's like, oh, okay, well, there's the problem with it. But then, like, I can load my horror game one just fine. Which, I don't remember how this is different. Oh yeah, it turns me blue. That's what I'm saying, right? Like, they're just not going to understand why they can't load their thing. So, cool, we're almost there. It feels kind of goofy. What's a good glyph for loading? This shouldn't be a big ass button. It should be a third button in the row here, next to copy. I think, right? Surely that's how it's supposed to be. I don't know, like a floppy disk is indicative of save, but what's a good icon for load? I don't know. Something to think on. Because I don't like how bulky this is. They should all just be this big. There shouldn't be any need to expand or collapse them. And also, I think they should probably be collapsed by default. If there was extra information, like, I don't know, maybe the file name. But they should just look like this, I think. And then there'll be one more, which will be above the plus, which will be your current profile. And it'll have, can't delete it, can't copy it. But, yeah, so like, for example, I can copy... Oh, right, that doesn't work yet. I have to patch that in. But I'd be able to copy the settings from my Skeletom default to this one, and it'll be like, are you sure you want to clone those settings? It'll overwrite the current ones you have, which is good and correct. Yeah, I was thinking like a folder with an arrow pointing out of it, but I don't know how well that conveys it, like a 32 by 32 piece of line art. I don't know, something to think about. Definitely solvable. It does mean that the name here is a little... Like, this just fits. And if I add one more icon, this won't fit, so I'll have to write code to concatenate this appropriately. Or have the display just be the model and then the profile underneath. And then I'll have more space, maybe. Things to think about, for sure. But yeah, this is a big improvement from the weird little drop down I had before. This is a lot more intuitive. I'm very happy with this. I'm very pleased with these UI changes. Actually, I'm pleased as punch. Okay. Oh no, I got a problem. An item with the same key has already been added. Huh? Interesting. So I have a whole bunch of migrating model save data, which is good and correct. Why is it? Huh? I'm very confused. Yeah, I hate the duplicate key one. That's stressful. But I'll solve this off stream. I'm literally just gonna work on UI this stream. This is a functional thing I don't have time to debug right on stream right now. This is something I'll do tomorrow when I have a clear head. I'm not about to modify file IO shit while on stream at like 10 o'clock at night. That's a recipe for disaster. Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like, there's something here clearly that's wrong. And I haven't seen that before, which is strange because I'm basically copying behavior that already existed. I'm just moving it to like a page instead of a drop-down. Previously, we would populate... here, I had like a class that I made that's like a drop-down that you can hit a refresh button on. And there'd be like a refresh event, and it would get its data from somewhere and refresh the values based on strings from there. And so that's basically what I'm doing here. We get the map, and then we just say, okay, populate these. So I fucked up somewhere. Okay. But again, I'm gonna work on purely doing UI stuff right now. So back to what we were doing. Profiles content. We're gonna make another one of these. Go up here. And so we in fact, can't have you do either of these things. We can put the tooltip button back. Don't need a load button, but we will need a input. I would let you rename it. I don't know. I don't think there's other information you actually need here. I guess instead of the text, it would be... so like here would be... profile. And then I should stream Sonic Generations. I should honestly just stream every Sonic game. I have so much fun when I play them. But I've found that my game playing streams get way less viewership than my programming streams, which I don't really care about, but it is always nice to have people to talk to. So I care about it like in that regard. So I don't know. But on the other hand, the VODs that I upload to YouTube, the game ones get way more views there. They don't get live views. I don't know what I'm doing wrong. I shouldn't even say wrong, because I don't really care that much. Where am I from? Assets, UI, prefabs. Just stupid. I don't have time. I have, like, over the course of 2 days over the weekend, I have about 5 hours cumulatively that I can stream. So I never feel like I have the time. What did I just do? That's what I mean. Variant. Interesting. Oh, yeah, I used to do that. When I was starting out with my pizza baking streams, when the dough was rising, I would move back to my office and I'd play a video game for 90 minutes while I was letting the dough rise. But that got very unwieldy, and I don't know. It's good for one-shot games, but it's not good for games that take more than 90 minutes or that you want to actually play the entire thing of. So I stopped that format for a while. Cooking is also very exhausting. Doing a cooking Zatsudon is very tiring work. So I kind of stopped doing that. But it was fun. I kind of miss it. I don't know. Much to think about, right? Yes, I do have to. I have to travel across my house to do that. I do have to go across rooms. So, okay, let's see. How should this be organized? I can do line and line to give everything the maximum amount of space here. I'm not sure. Wait, are you kidding me? I can't... Okay, there we go. Unity is so fucky. I don't understand it. All the time. So this is going to be height 20. 12-point font. I use a 80-foot HDMI cable to get my camera piping into my capture card for the cooking streams. It's a lot of fun. I just have nowhere to mount it. It's not so much that I'm worried about the heat. I just don't have any area that I can mount a camera arm to that's near my oven at all. The countertop that I use for the normal cooking streams does not extend far enough, I don't think. So it's something to think about. I'm very mentally exhausted all the time. Doing the 3.5 hour cooking streams is far more draining than I have capacity for right now. Oh, no, I'm not gonna do that. That's a fool's errand. A good way to burn through 400 cameras. Yes, yes, yes. Collapse. One pizza at a time. Scripts. Profiles. How did I activate my hat? Did I hit F9 by accident? There we go. How long have I had my hat on also? I just noticed. What are we doing here? Oh, VS Code. There we go. How was the weekend so far? Great. We got a bunch of chores done today. I made burgers. I have to do lawn mowing tomorrow. I played Dota today, which is always good. I had fun. I even managed to win a game of Dota, which is exciting. Fun, productive, and delicious, yeah. Most of my weekend's gonna be spent working on this, though. We're aiming to ship on the 25th, which is not many days away. I gotta change that. I've got a script called current profile display. That's no good. Can't feel my thumbs. Can't feel your thumbs at the moment, rather. That's exciting. Here's the thing. That's what I want to do. And then we need to change this to 2. Let's see what happens. Well, that's just incorrect. Why didn't disconnect the VTube Studio? What happened? Huh. I've messed up my save data somehow. That's very worrying. Okay, let's take a quick peek. I don't know how I managed that. Yeah, it's telling me that I've got 2 pieces of save data with the same user ID. I don't know how that would be possible. Give me one moment to try and find where these are. Huh. That doesn't seem to be the case. I only have one case where the profile ID is that. So let's see, it's saying key, Skeletom. Why is this? That's so strange. Okay, let's hop into the code, I guess. I said I wasn't going to debug this, but now it's getting in the way of me actually doing stuff, so... So when we get our profile map, we go through every file in the dictionary, deserialize them, we modernize them, we add them to the map. We're getting duplicate keys here. Literally how? It's time for the debugger, I guess. Good old debugger. Wait, where's my Unity debugger? I just had this. What the fuck? Where's my Unity debugger? With hard labor, it sounds like it. You were doing some carpentry. Yeah, so I've got my debugger. Okay. I just did this last stream. I finally learned how to use the Unity debugger. Oh, now it shows up, okay. Okay, back to Unity. Oh, wait, hold on. I need to stop playing here. Close that. And then run with the Unity debugger. Why is it not just going? Oh, I need to do it here. But now suddenly the Unity one doesn't show up. What the hell? What the hell? Where's my Unity debugger? I don't understand. I don't understand. It knows that I'm in a Unity project right now. Lua, are you still here? Do you know why it's not letting me run my debugger? It's just like not showing up as a valid option. Hello. Yeah, so I'm trying to run the debugger that you showed me. You don't use VS Code. Ah, I see, I see. This was working last time. You showed me how to do it. And something is going wrong now. Does Unity need to actively be running? The problem only happens on boot, though. No, that doesn't change anything. Alright, well, we're going back to caveman-style debugging, then. No, that didn't work. Give me some call traces. I don't understand how it's possible that the same thing gets in their place from the files that exist. Okay, it's only getting called once. Oh, I know what the problem is. I think. This should actually be complaining way more than it is. This is like... Okay, so here's the problem. Here's what the problem is, as far as I understand it. You see how it's like migrating model save data from old version to new version, etc., etc., etc. The problem is each time it does this, it's also then, or it should be, no, I guess it's not. I was gonna say, I thought it was recursive. I was thinking, whenever it migrates the save data, it then triggers a model write event, or a save data write event, which would then cause it to recalculate the map again. But that isn't correct. I am stumped here. but it's preventing me from being able to test this stuff, which is no good. I'm stumped, which is bad. Quite bad. So we're only invoking this once. So how could we possibly model save directory? I should change up the music. We've looped through this album twice now. So like, okay, I'm gonna open. Hold on, I'm gonna open the save data folder real quick. Where's this motherfucker? Oh geez, that like, okay. Sure. So if the key it's complaining about having a duplicate on. I gotta wait for you to chill. Is this one. Hi Tiberius. I am suffering right now. Okay, so this is the key it claims to have a duplicate of, and the way the keys are made is it's model display name, model ID, and then profile name. And as you can see in here, we've got 3 profiles for that model, but only one of them has that as the oh wait, hold on. Hold on. Maybe I just rubber ducked myself to freedom. Oh, jeez. 1 second. I might have just rubber ducked myself to freedom. I have to fix capture though, because now I'm capturing the wrong instance of VS Code. There we go. Okay, hold on. So, oh yeah, okay. This is. Oh wait, no. This should work. Model name, profile ID, profile name, profile ID should always be unique, and as we demonstrated, it was. So I don't understand how it's reading the same file twice. Never mind. I thought I was doing the model name, model ID, in which case I could see why it would be redundant a lot of the time. I don't understand. And we demonstrated that it's only being called once, so it's not a case of recursion where yes, I am. Yes, that's exactly what's happening. For some reason, this dictionary is suddenly saying it's getting a conflict where it has the same key already, but the dictionary is made in this function. It's a local variable. We're iterating over every file in a folder. We're trying to deserialize it into a specific shape. modernize it if we have to. And then we display probably just do this, but it shouldn't matter. I'm getting a collision somehow, but as I was iterating through the files that it should be iterating over, there's only one case where the key it's trying to generate could possibly show up. So I don't understand. Well, let's see what happens here. That's so stressful. Serialization bugs are the worst. Nope, okay, same thing. An item with the same key has already been added. Alright. I also can't seem to get my typical Unity debugger to work right now. I'm probably just doing something wrong, but I'm very tired. So the only thing to do is to do this. Oops. That. Let's see, what is this actually doing? How is this iterating? What is happening? Caveman style debugging. Okay. What the fuck are you doing? Okay. Alright, makes sense. So it's migrating the loaded model, and it's migrating mine. Fiori, Kari, different profile for me. Jiki, these are all the default VTube Studio characters. And then it's doing mine again. Why? Why? Let's change the order here. And let's also display file. Let's actually display the file name. And oh wait, we have to display the key later. Caveman style debugging. Is there initialization? I'm not sure what you're what you're talking about being initialized. This is just happening on startup where it tries to repair a bunch of save data from older versions. Okay. What do we have happening here? Okay. So default, yes. Incorrect. 7.3. Okay. So it thinks that that file with the 7.3 I can't explain it. Yeah, this is on startup, but it's doing file IO, so it doesn't depend on any other systems. I can't explain this. The file it says it's reading. then gets interpreted as just, it's completely different. This file here, can I move files from one VTube studio or one VS Code instance to another? Let me see if I can. I can. Excellent. So here's the file it's reading and is saying, sorry, Chief, we already have this on lock. It's this one, which profile name is clearly not default. Is the key check wrong? I don't know. I can't figure out what's wrong here. It's this. It's the profile name. Wait, I know what it is. I figured out what it is. I know what it is. I know what it is. I know what it is. Okay. I figured it out. I'm certain I figured it out now. So we have this modernize function, which is a big switch statement that's going to get bigger and bigger every time I make a new version with like fundamental changes to the way that the save data looks, right? And so it's basically just I have a bunch of migrate from last version to current version functions that I'm able to chain. This is the best way I could come up with doing this. Hopefully I don't need to add this very often. The problem was, because I know that the version that I'm going to be releasing is called 1.2.0, for like the intermediary versions, I've been I've been using version 1.1.11, which is the next incremental version of the last version. But all my checks here are for if it's older than what the current upcoming version is. So what we're doing is we're reading this model save data, and because we add the profile concept in 1.2, this field gets obliterated when we're interpreting it as an older as this version of save data. This concept doesn't exist. This concept doesn't exist. And so, when it sees that this concept doesn't exist, it thinks this must be the default profile because previously you could only have one profile per model. Therefore, whatever save file you currently had is your default profile. Ah, fuck, I don't know what the best way to solve this is. Other than, for right now, it would be build settings. Let's close the terminal here. Let's finally update this v1.2.0. Finally, we're ready to go. Thought I did that already, but I guess not. And then that profile that's causing problems, 1.2.0. Save. The key check is right, it's just I was destroying relevant pieces of data because it was being interpreted as an older point in time when that didn't exist because of the version discriminator, basically. Now this will work. Why do I have 100? That's a lot of lines. But I can go here now, and it works. Which is exciting. I need to change up this and stuff. This should have the profile name. I'm not sure how I want to lay this out. There's stuff to do here for sure. And I need to make this also work. This big plus button. Okay, cool, that's good. Let's get this cleaned up, and let's plug this in, and then I'm going to call it a day, I think. So first things first, do this guy. So this needs to be plugged into, I think, the save data manager. file for current model. I think is how that's meant to be. And then let's go to VS Code. Goodness gracious, that was frustrating to deal with. Okay. Save data manager, what was I doing? I've derailed, I've lost my train of thought. Current profile module, this thing. File name like such. Okay. Now let's boot this up again. Oh, that's no good. Huh? Huh? Where did they go? Huh? Where are they? That's correct. This part's correct, where it has the name. Correctly minimizes. Now I want to make this go to here. So this will go away. And if I click on this, that didn't work either. Huh. That's bad. This should fill in the thing here. I'm confused. I'm very confused on a lot of fronts right now. Maybe that's a sign that I should call it quits, but I always feel bad ending the stream on like a stuff doesn't work. Populate. I also check my... Okay, yeah, we still got a bunch of save files here. That's good. Oh! I commented out the wrong thing. I'm a moron. I was like, oh, let's get rid of these debugs. I commented out the part where we actually populate that dictionary. I guess I was thinking that was the other debug line in my haste. My bad. So yeah, it was actually interpreting that there were no models. Which is probably breaking quite a lot of things. Okay. So what we actually want to do... Yeah, I deserve that. Is it girl OL, like girl office lady 21? Or is it GUR LOL 21? How do I pronounce this? Give me a clue. Give me some help here. Is it girlol or girl ol? Or neither? Is there a third, more inventive way to pronounce this? Let me know. Shout out in the comments below. Girlol. Got it. Gotcha. Excellent. Well, thank you for striking my skull. I desperately need that. I'm being boneheaded right now. Gear. Gear? Gur? Geyer? Gur? Lol. Jur? I'm not sure what the correct pronunciation of those 3 letters is either. Everything's very subjective. Hold on. Profiler, what the fuck are you doing? Huh? What's happening here? Is this just like deep profiler gonna deep profile? Hold on, let's turn deep profiler off. Alright. Scroll bar behave normally. Challenge. Why the fuck does that consume so much? What the fuck? Are they all like this? Wow! I've never noticed that before. That's awesome. That's just awesome. This has to be an editor problem. What I'm reacting to is every time I scroll, you can see there's a huge spike in the profiler here, dipping the frame rate to half. I'm just using the default Unity scroll bar. Like, nothing is happening on the scroll. That's bizarre. Well, I'm not going to think about that too much. I'll profile that later. Okay. No. I was using the profiler for an unrelated thing. I was noticing it was slowing down when I was scrolling. I figured out what the problem was, though. You're gonna love this, Lua. So I've got this function here called modernize legacy model data, right? And every time I load data in, I pass it through here. And what it's supposed to do is it checks what the version stamp on the file is and says, okay, you say your version from version earlier than 1.1, and we made some breaking changes in version 1.1. So let's actually interpret your data as this old model, then we run it through this modernize function where we update the fields to meet the new spec, and we output it. And we chain these together basically forever, for every new version that has breaking data. The problem was, I've got this check to see, was this made on a version earlier than 1.2? And 1.2 is the version that adds profile IDs, and profile ID is part of the key that we were using in that dictionary. So what was happening is it was interpreting perfectly good save data as an older version, throwing out the profile ID because that field doesn't exist on legacy models, and then when it goes to interpret that as a 2.0 model, it was saying, oh, well, this doesn't have a profile ID, therefore it's the default profile, and it was doing that for 2 profiles I'd made under the new version, because I did not update my build number to reflect this. It was still a build off of the old... Like, I was using 1.1.11 because I was still making updates to the prior version to send, like, new beta updates for the API and such. So it was interpreting that as an older version, throwing out data that I'd made on this new version, and then saying, well, there's a problem here. You can't have 2 models, or 2 save files for the same model. That's not allowed until this version, which you're not on. So we figured it out. It's been solved. So that's cool. I feel like I should sort these somehow. I'm not sure how. Question for the room. Would it be intuitive when you create a new profile like this for it to also automatically load you into said profile? Or should it just be at the top of the list here? I'm not sure how I'd get it to be at the top of the list. I'm not sure what sorting I need to do to get that to be the case. I was going to have the list be alphabetical. I was gonna have the list be the model you currently have loaded, default, and then alphabetically sorted profiles, and then I guess every other model in alphabetical order in that same process. I don't know how I'm going to accomplish that, but that's what I had in mind. So like I've got Skeletom loaded, so the other things it should show me here are Skeletom default, which is also the one I currently have. So maybe that it shouldn't even be on the list. And then Skeleton horror game, and then Akari default, and then Hijiki default, etc., etc. In order. But I think the ones that are relevant to the model you're currently on should show at the top, even though that means that the list order will be inconsistent every time when you have different models. I think that's what I want to do. I don't know how I'm going to accomplish that, but I'm sure it's possible. Okay. I'm pretty happy with that. I need to add hooks here. I need to rename this. How often will users be using this drop list? Probably like once or 0 times per stream. Depends on if you're a variety streamer or not. For plenty of people, just having one profile per model was plenty good. But for a couple people, they were like, oh, I'd like to be able to have a workout stream, workout configuration, and a horror game configuration. And you know, they're not wrong. But what I can do now, one more, I'm literally not even showing the configuration here, my bad. What I can do now that that's all squared away, I should get rid of these as well, get rid of these debuggers. These printouts, don't need that anymore. As I can clean up this nav bar section. We don't need current profile. You can go away, and soon I'll be able to cannibalize this as well. For now, you can go away. Kind of. We're looking for a button. Width of 30. Height of 30, I guess. 50. 380. Give them what they want. Exactly, yeah. That's what I'm saying. Image? Or no, we can get rid of the drop shadow. This becomes invisible. Straight up invisible. Drop shadow, and there's a text here. Oh, and then what I need to do. So this button will take you to the Profiles tab immediately. So this is actually a go-to. Yes. Profiles, and it's not just going to say new color. And this will be a button that you can click. I guess I can left align this, maybe. I don't know if it actually matters. Does that look any better? I guess that's better. It's kind of arbitrary. And then this, clicking on this will go to the Profiles tab. So let's hook that up right now. Oh, I already did that. All I need to do is make the text get updated. There we go. If you click on current profile, it'll take you to the Profiles tab, which is what it should do. If you're curious what that does, even though there's going to be a tab that says Profiles right here, I feel like that's what it should do. It shows you your current profile. I guess kind of redundant, but it's better than having an input field up here for no reason. Alright. I'd say this is decently successful. This is a decently successful stream. I'm getting kind of tired though. It's 10:30. I have been streaming for 2.5 hours, which is typically my limit at this hour. So I'm going to say that this is an absolute win. I've obviously got a lot more cleanup to do, and we've got 4 days where I have to finish this, make a patch notes video, and then make a tutorial video for this so that people can have like a quick video walkthrough on how to use it, as opposed to just having to read the README. I have to go through my checklist of all of the possible features I can give this and make sure that they'll still work, especially with the UI overhaul, and then I have to ship this and it'll be done. Thank you for sticking with me. Let's go see who to raid. Who's even available? I'm gonna send you guys to beloved Plamo VTuber Tsukimi raid. Hold on, somebody said something. Oh, thanks for the stream. It is my pleasure. I will not be streaming tomorrow because I'll be working on this. I was debating not even streaming tonight because I just wanted to like heads down work on this, but I figured it would be very, very foolish to not use my stream as an opportunity to show my planned UI changes to other real human beings. Like, surely that's a better use of streaming than writing code on stream, is having other human beings look at a UI and be like, hey, that makes sense, or no, that doesn't make any sense. So I'm glad I did, but I'll be heads down working on this tomorrow, and Monday, and Tuesday. Oh, I just have a hotkey for the hat. Gurlul, I haven't done it in a while, so you're forgiven for not knowing, but on Sundays, like once a month or twice a month, I do what's called Pizzatsudan, and it is a combination cooking and just chatting stream, the pizza and Zatsudan concepts, where I will try and hold a conversation with chat for 3.5 hours while I, from start to finish, make pizza from scratch, and I include the directions so the viewers can follow along at home. It's like a dinner time stream. If you've ever wanted to know how to make pizza, my stream offline screen is in fact a recipe that I use every time. And I've got some VODs on my archive on my YouTube as well, but it's fun. It's the one thing I'm good at cooking, or baking I should say, is making that. And I've done some weird novelty concepts as well, like I've done bao, like steamed bun, that have pizza topping inside. Anyway, so I use the hat for when I do that. It's just a hotkey I have, and the plugin here I believe has me, has a hotkey, toggle item scene. I don't know why I named it Panic. It's probably a holdover from when it was a different item, but that's a trigger, so like, if I go back above that heart rate, it's going to disappear. Just me testing hotkeys. Anyway, that's the story about Pizzatsudan. Anyway, what I was saying is we're going to raid Tsukimi V Dorny. She's eating pudding on stream right now, I think. Her stream title is I Will Claim the Title of Pudding King, and her tags right now are Japan, Pudding, and VTuber, so that's going to be interesting. Isn't that a calzone? Kind of, but the dough is different, actually. You can watch the archive to find out. They came out really well. The pudding VTuber we deserve. Did I spell them right? I did, okay. Give her the whatever emote. I don't typically like being noisy when I raid people, because I think it's unseemly, but you can hit her with the food emote or whatever. It's all good. She knows me, we're friends. We did Plimo Weekender together, which was a very fun charity event. So she'll know who I am if you show up and say my name or show my emotes. With that, bonus era, good night, and I will catch you guys next weekend. Goodbye.